shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real itself. My life to see the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so my master will help. Money, money, money. That's all you got.
There's nothing wrong with being wealthy.
I know you know.
Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You don't like money so much, why you get up and go to work? Yes, I do think about all the things that you think you have to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for my family. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H. Cortez.
Good morning, Black World, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth-building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It is truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to come to you live and direct from the Black Wealth Movement studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, if you are not already a part of the Black Wealth Movement and you are concerned about the Black community, the question is why, right? The Black Wealth Movement is a network of men and women committed to bringing financial literacy to the Black community. It is our opinion that economic empowerment is the new revolution. In fact, it's our opinion that economic empowerment has always been the only revolution, but we've been sidetracked by a lot of other things, right? We have to empower ourselves economically. We have to become owners and producers of the things that we consume and the places that we live. And if we're not going to do that, then we might as well stop complaining about everything that's going wrong. We have all of the power to fix everything that's going on in our communities. We just have to have the gumption to actually do it. So you can join the Black Wealth Movement. Text Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887. Again, text Black Wealth Movement if you want more information on that to 314-874-6887. You'll learn how to, you'll learn about entrepreneurship. You'll learn how to minimize your taxes. You'll learn how to eliminate your debt. You'll learn how to fix your credit. You'll learn principles for investing and things of that nature. And then you'll learn about asset protection as well. Really, all of the key building blocks to building wealth is what we represent and what we teach here in our movement. It's $35 to start, $35 per month, and you really can't beat that. Yes, someone please put that number in the box. It's 314-874-6887. Just text the keyword phrase Black Wealth Movement, and I will respond with some information for you to check out. Angela, good morning. Good morning. So for those of you who have never checked out the show, I'd like to let you know exactly who the show is for. This show is for risers and grinders only, man. If you're ready to get up, get out, and get something, then this is your show. This show is for legacy builders. If you are on YouTube and you are ready to build a legacy for you and your family and you need some help, maybe you need some guidance, maybe you need some tips, maybe you need a mentor, that's what this show is all about, man. The people that come and tune in on this stream are serious about building legacies for their family, and we want to give them some tips and strategies on how to do that. On the other hand, who is the show not for? The show is not for the bump on the log, man. If you like to complain about things instead of doing things to change them, then you are absolutely on the wrong show. If you have a problem with money, you think money is evil, you think capitalism is a dirty word, you think wealthy people are snobs, then get off our stream, because everybody on this stream is wealthy in one respect or another. But what you got to realize, though, is when you have that kind of relationship with money, you will tend to repel money away from you instead of attracting it to you. And if you watch this show a little bit too long, you're going to tend to start attracting money to you. If you don't want that in your life, then you might want to exit stage left. And like I tell you each and every morning, man, I don't have no problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. That's your prerogative. It's your life. It's your legacy on the line. If you're cool with where you are, I'm cool, right? Right? Anthony Hamilton, if you're cool, I'm cool, right? I only have a problem with you when you have a problem with me wanting to be wealthy. That's where I have the problem, right? So, and if you don't know, by now, you are looking at a future billionaire. And yes, that's billion with a B. 2027 is going down. I know you might be saying, how can you become a billionaire in 10 years? just ask the folks over at Uber, ask Mark Zuckerberg, ask the founders of Google, right? It didn't take them that long, man, to become billion-dollar enterprises, man. You just have to be willing to set that as a goal and go get it. As am I. Really quickly, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys who shared. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. I had to make sure that was up. For all of you guys who share the Generational Wealth Blueprint, we had a phenomenal time yesterday. It was amazing. There was everybody who came out. I believe they really were blessed with some strategies on how to build generational wealth. They were given greater perspective. So I want to say thank you to everybody who came out and to those who actually shared. Those who came out to the Kids Expo over the weekend and saw me teach entrepreneurship as I kicked it with my main man Mikey and the folks over at Young Biz Kids. I appreciate you for doing that. This week on the agenda, I'll be with Covenant for Life Christian Center. They're having what's called a No More Crumbs seminar and workshop. Is actually going to be, I think, Thursday, Friday. Pastor Trice is going to bring some special guest ministers in to teach on biblical financial principles on Thursday and Friday. And then on Saturday, me and my girl Ariel will be in the building, and we're going to be teaching a workshop on how to transform your finances and taking practical application of what they're going to teach you on Thursday and Friday. And we're going to show you how to execute that on Saturday. So if you want more information about that, just inbox me and I'll get you all the particulars. So today, man, we're talking about whether or not college is as risky or riskier than entrepreneurship, right? And I want to be clear about something. We're talking college today. We're not talking 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, because we know that a lot of us who came out with college degrees 20 years ago, it's a different story than those who are coming out with college degrees today. So today, the question is, what do you think? Is college today riskier or as risky as entrepreneurship? What do you guys say? What do you guys say? Do you think today, in today's economic climate, is college risky or riskier than entrepreneurship, right? And that's what we're going to talk about. I've done some studies, looked at some different articles and some different resources on some of the statistics regarding those who are graduating with college degrees and their unemployment rate, their earnings potential, and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't as shocked as I thought I'd be. It kind of fit in line with the way I think. Now, let me preface this entire show with this. Whenever I'm talking about college, I always tread lightly because I'm a guy who has no college degree, right? And I don't ever want to come off as the bitter black dude who couldn't make it through college, who couldn't graduate, so now he's bashing college. That's not what this is. I think we have to get to a point where we start asking the questions from a practical standpoint, right? So long we have just gone with the status quo. Going to college is just the thing to do because we've been socially conditioned to believe so, right? Going to college is just the thing to do because everything, our entire school system socializes everyone to believe that it is just the thing to do, right? But we never really question the effectiveness of that and the benefits and really weigh out the pros and the cons. Yes, they will. The statistics show that the earning potential of someone with a college degree versus someone with a high school diploma, there's a gap in the earnings potential, right? But one thing that is never considered is entrepreneurship. See, you can't just say, hey, the earning potential of somebody with a college degree is greater than the earning potential of someone who just has a high school diploma and not put entrepreneurship in the race. Because while the earnings potential of someone with a college degree is greater than the earnings potential with someone who just has a high school diploma, there is always the ability for someone who only has a high school diploma to start a business and their earning potential is greater than those with a college degree, So we can't just look at things in a vacuum. We have to really start to analyze and break down every aspect. See, I have a clothing line that's about to launch very, very soon, top of the year. And the name of the brand is Question Everything, right? The name of the brand is Question Everything. And I think my man Trevor Ott says, powerful people ask powerful questions, right? And we don't tend to question things, even though we're looking at the results of a thing, and we never ask the question: Is this sound? Is this good? Is this advice still to be taken, or is there something missing in this? Right? Really quickly, how many people do you know with college degrees that are struggling financially? How many people do you know with college degrees that are struggling financially? And I'm going to go over some numbers that I was just recently taking a look at this morning, because I'm no journalist by any means. However, when I present and I talk on a subject as touchy as this, I at least try to go get some facts from some credible sources to at least present you with. But you definitely want to make sure that you do your own research on this. And no, I'm not telling anybody not to send your kid to college. I have a kid in college. I've sent 3 to college. 2 bombed out, and 1 is about to get his degree in December. So this is not a bash on college and do not send your kids to college. This is more of, let's evaluate and truly weigh out the pros and the cons of that action. We can't afford to willy-nilly send our kids to college, especially black people, especially black men. We cannot afford to willy-nilly send our kids to college to acquire student loan and college debt and things of that nature, when statistics show that the unemployment rate for college graduates is twice that of non-blacks. But you guys will hear me. The unemployment rate of college graduates for non-blacks is twice that, for blacks is twice that of non-blacks. Right? 67% of all black people with college degrees are underemployed. 67% of college graduates are underemployed, or they're working a job that's not in their field of study. Either they're underemployed or they're working a job that's not in their field of study. Let's talk about that, why that is so detrimental, right? If it costs you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year, $60,000 per year to get that college degree, and you cannot get a job out of college right away. I mean, you guys know that the interest on student loans will compound over time. The interest on student loans will compound over time. So you might very well get out of college with $30,000 in student loan debt. But if you cannot find a job right away to start paying that loan back, then the interest starts to compound almost immediately upon graduation, right? So what happens when you walk out, says, I've never worked a day in either field, I have a degree. Wow. So that just speaks to the point. I know that it's just one person, but what happens when you graduate from college and you have a college degree and you have the student loan debt, and the bills start to come within 3 months after leaving school, right? What tends to happen to us psychologically is we know we have bills to pay, so we will go out and take any old job. And why is that dangerous for black people? Because when you go out and take any old job, and instead of working in your field just to pay the college loan back, you sometimes get stuck in that situation, because Say I'm a 25-year-old brother, graduated with a college degree, 50,000 in student loans. Know those student loan bills are coming, but I'm living with mom and dad. So I take a job just to take a job so I can start paying the student loans back, right? Got to get out there and get working. So I do that, paying the student loans back. But when I take the job, any old job, that first thing that comes is not in my field, I just take it because I want to start paying the student loans back. I'm trying to do the responsible thing. But when I start making a few dollars, I'm paying the student loan back, but I'm also making $2-3 grand a month. So that's enough to pay the student loan back. Then what I say, shoot, it's time for me to get out of my parents' house. Now, I'm not making the type of money that my college degree said I could be making, but I still go out and get on my own. So now I'm not just paying my student loan back with the underemployment. Now I have a place of my own, rent, apartment, mortgage, whatever. Of course, I've got to get back and forth to work. So now I go out and grab that vehicle of my choice, right? New car, new place to live. So now, even though I took this initial job just to pay for my student loans, but I went out and got some other bills. Now I'm locked into this job because I can't walk away because I got these other bills. I'm living on my own, got a car note, got student loans to pay. That's what happens to a lot of us, and we stay underemployed for years. Since my wife has a MSW in social work and has never worked in her field after 10 years of graduating. So I'm not saying that school is not a good thing. Do you guys realize the Obamas just paid off their student loans like 10, 12 years ago? So this is not me saying don't send your kids to college. It's not me saying that college can't be a good thing. This is me saying, hey, let's seriously evaluate what we're doing just because society says we should do this. Let's seriously evaluate, right? And then you have to think about this. Let's be honest, y'all. The way that we're raising our children today, and I will use myself as a prime example. Some of us are sending our children to college, and we know good and cotton picking well those children aren't prepared to handle college life. Away from home at a university. Some of us know within our heart of hearts we should be sending these kids to a community college, paying a couple grand without taking out student loans, and you go prove yourself, get some good grades, see if you can earn some scholarship money, and then we can talk about maybe you going away to college, right? But even so let's look at some numbers. 61% of all college graduates, black college graduates, are either not working in their field or severely underemployed. 64%, 67%, I'm sorry, right? And I just want you to listen to some articles. I didn't get a chance to read all of the articles, but I went in and pulled out some numbers. This is an article titled from the Huffington Post, Black Man Degree, White High School Graduate. This article, they compared a white man with just a high school diploma versus a black man with at least an associate's degree. And do you have to guess who's got the better job and earning more money? The white guy with just a high school diploma is more employed and making more money than the black man with an associate's degree or better. So we don't like to think about white supremacy and racism in these terms, but you have this stuff plays a role, man. So we're sending our children to go into debt for 30, 40, 50,000, sometimes even more to get a college degree. And then we're asking them to go beg white people for jobs. And you know what happens when you beg anybody for anything. You will accept what they give you. If you're begging somebody for a job, they can throw you in the mailroom and you are ecstatic about that because beggars can't be choosy, right? That's what we're doing. We're setting ourselves up for psychological failure, and we won't even put entrepreneurship on the table, right? College is held in this regard, and entrepreneurship isn't even on the table, right? So the question is, what do you guys think? Is entrepreneurship, is college riskier or as risky as entrepreneurship, right? Let's look at another title. It says Black millennials. That means those who are recently graduated from college. The unemployment rate is double that of white millennials. White millennial unemployment rate recently graduated from college within the last 5 years. Unemployment rate is 7.1. Our black millennials who recently graduated from college, unemployment rate is 16.6. See, we've never been taught to look at whether that's a risk or not. You are going to school, borrowing money to do so, and then you're hoping that you can get employment to pay back the loan or the money that you borrowed. You're going to school, borrowing money to do so, to get a degree. Now, all throughout school, you're being told that the degree guarantees you employment in a certain lifestyle, right? You get this degree. What do they say? What is the estimated income of an engineer, right? You get your engineering degree, you're going to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 or whatever. And you're looking at this as an 18-year-old kid. You're looking at this and you're saying, I'm an 18-year-old kid. If I study engineering, then chances are I'm going to. Now they say this is your chance. This is the chance of getting a job. But psychologically, saying to yourself, hey, engineers make $50,000 a year. I get an engineering degree, then I'm going to get this engineering job. You're thinking that it's guaranteed, but the literature will say that this is the potential, that meaning it's not guaranteed, but psychologically you're thinking, I'm going to graduate with this engineering degree and I'm going to get this great job as an engineer, right? But that's a gamble. And the question is, are you willing to take that gamble, right? And then you have to look at college as being the business that it is. College is a business. They keep their doors open by getting students in the building, and they continue to raise tuitions. Why? Because college student loans are guaranteed. So I can let anybody into my university. They're going to be able to they're guaranteed to get the funds to pay for the university. And it is not my concern whether or not they actually get the job, right? Since engineering is not all that, I've been one for 27 years and have never done one engineering calculation. Wow. If I could do it all over again, cutting grass looks more profitable. Listen, man, entrepreneurship has to at least be on the table. I'm not saying that everybody has to be a full-time entrepreneur like myself and really have to get out here and grind and build a brand and all that stuff. I'm saying it should at least be on the table. So school being the business that it is, and when you understand business, the name of the game is to get the kids in your door because the funding that they need to pay you is guaranteed. When the funding that kids need to pay me is guaranteed, I can continue to increase the cost of my school with no cap. So the cost of my program is $35 per month, $35 to start, and it covers financial education. entrepreneurship, tax minimization, debt elimination, credit education, investing, and asset protection, right? It covers all of those things, and we teach you how to build a business in the financial education space so you can write off your lifestyle and use that tax savings to eliminate your debt. You use the money that was going to debt, now you start to invest, right? So we have to seriously look at this as whether or not it is viable, right? So that was one. The Huffington Post article, Black Man Degree, White High School Diploma, right? New York Times article, in job hunt, college degree can't close racial gap. This is a New York Times article. It says, in job hunt, college degree can't close racial gap. And we won't even put entrepreneurship on the table, right? We're just talking about some things that you have to, it's time for us to stop just following society blindly. We have never benefited as Black people, ever benefited from following society blindly. We have never. So we have to take a serious look and ask some tough questions about whether or not this is right for my kid, whether or not I should think about spending the money to go back to school as an employed adult. I know a lot of people are doing that. You're in a job field and they're on their job and they're telling you, man, the only reason we keep passing over you for this management position, this supervisor position, is because you don't have your degree. So you want to go back to school and get your degree. Then you get your degree. And then they say, the only reason we passed over you this time for this management position is because you don't have your master's degree. Then you have to think hard about going to get your master's degree. Then you go get your master's degree. And they say the only reason we looked over you for this promotion is because the other candidates had PhDs. So then you start thinking psychologically, okay, I messed up because I went back to get my master's after 20 years in the workforce. I'm just going to make sure that my children get theirs out of the gate. That ain't the problem, y'all. There's something called white supremacy and racism that is right in the middle of everything that we're trying to achieve and accomplish, and we refuse to address it at all. We refuse to address it at all. That's why you have to look at entrepreneurship. The fact that we don't even have enough jobs within our own community to hire our children with when they come back from college should be proof enough that we need to put entrepreneurship on the table. See, we are sending our kids to their universities to graduate with degrees that should benefit their companies, and then they won't hire our kids in their companies and we get mad. Instead of, as a family, every family should have their own family business. When my son graduates from school with his degree in business finance, he's doing that so he can become a consultant to my business first to help me with my business finance. Then he can build his own business finance consultancy. And he doesn't have to get a job running someone else's business finance. He can run his own business as a business finance consultant, and he can farm himself out and contract with other businesses, but through his own business enterprise. Right? We have to really take a look at what we're doing, right? So in job hunt, this is a New York Times article. In job hunt, college degree can't close racial gap. Because when they interviewed and they took statistics, is there a cancellation policy? No, you cancel anytime, man. We don't play those type of games. I believe that our financial education is so powerful. It's going to transform your life that you're going to want to stick around. And if you don't want to stick around, we don't want to hold you. We don't want to partner with anybody that don't want to be partnered with us. If for whatever reason what we doing ain't working for you, then cancel, man. No questions asked. In fact, if I can't transform your finances, you don't see your money going in a certain direction in the first 30 days, you can cancel and I'll give you your $35 back. Money back guarantee on this opportunity. If you don't like where I'm taking you financially and you don't think you're going to be in a better place a year from now based on what I teach, and you can't see that that's evident in the first 30 days, then I'll give you your money back when you cancel. So not only do you not have, there's not a cancellation fee, but I'm going to give you your $35 back. Let's see what else. Now, let's talk about two of the main reasons that I think college is riskier than entrepreneurship. And even let's think about this. Let's think about this for a second. These are the types of games that they play with you, right? And we don't recognize them as games that will force us into doing something different, right? You graduate from college with a college degree, which society told you you need to get a job. But when you graduate from college with a college degree, which they told you need to get a job, then you apply for the job and they tell you you can't get the job because you don't have any experience. And a brother like me would want to say, Jigga, the reason I don't have no experience is because you told me to go to college to get the degree. Otherwise, I could have been working to get some experience. But then if I would have came to you with experience, you'd have told me I can't get the job because I don't have the degree. See, these are the types of games that are being played with our emotions, but we won't look at entrepreneurship as a valid, viable option to accomplishing the same feat. So I could start a business. One kid starts a business at 20 years old, 19 years old, 18 years old. One kid goes to college at 20 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old. It takes 4 to 5 years to get your college degree. If a kid is serious about business and going to attack it with the same sort of intensity that one would when they need to get a college degree, right? And took the same thing and applied himself equally as tenaciously in business, in 5 years, who do you think has the better, in those 5 years, that business is solid, right? Now, maybe it's not the same business. Let's be true. I don't want to skew anything. I know that the person who starts a business, he might have to start 3 or 4 businesses by year 3 just to find his way, right? Same thing in college, right? We'll laugh at the guy who has to start 3 or 4 businesses in the first 3 years, and we'll say that's a problem. But nobody laughs at the college kid who changes his major 3 or 4 times because he realized this course of study was too hard. Oh, I want to be an engineer, but when they hit me with all that math, nope, I don't want to do that. I want to be a doctor, but when I had to go through all that biology and chemistry, I changed it. Right? But the young man who starts 3 or 4 businesses by the time he's 25 is laughed at, and the young man who changes his major 3 or 4 times, he's not laughed at. He's going to have to do 6 years in college to get his degree, but college is a socially acceptable thing, so he gets a pass. Right? Now, you're 5. My man who's got the business has finally found his mark. He's found his lane. He's got his target market. He's got everything. His business is thriving. You're 5. My man graduates from college, got his degree. Because he was able to find an internship, now he's got the degree and the experience. He got 6 months experience because he interned his last 2 summers in college. So he's got 6 months experience. He's got his degree and he's got a job in this field. Now we know for black people, 67% of black people are not working in their field and they're underemployed. But let's just say this is a brother who found his way in his field, got his degree because he interned. Now he's got experience and he's got his degree and he's working his job, right? As these two guys progress, the one thing you have to keep in mind is ownership. See, when this guy gets to the end of his working career and running his business, he gets to pass the business down to his children. This guy can put in a good word to his employer that they should consider hiring his child. Appreciate that on YouTube. I appreciate that. The guy who went out of college and went to work a job. There's nothing wrong with working a job. There's nothing wrong with going to college. But let's just talk about let's just put things in proper perspective. This guy, if he's lucky enough to stay on the job 30 years consistently with the same job, he might finish with some sort of retirement, but can he pass his job down to his children? This guy who's building this business, going through the ups and downs, a roller coaster ride that we call entrepreneurship, when it's all said and done, he has equity. When it's all said and done, this can be passed down to his children. And another generation of Thorntons can take the family brand, the family business to another. Let me ask you this, guys. How many 100-year-old black businesses do you know? How many black businesses do you know that are 100 years old? Right? It says, how much money do you think you need to get a business? You start a business with me for $35 right now today. If you join Monetize My Life Academy, that's another opportunity where you can, guys, it's the internet. There's technology, right? A domain name will cost you anywhere from $1.99 to $12.99. CortezThornton.com. Website is free to build. Amazon has millions of products that I can be an affiliate of. Put their products on my website. I'm in business for $13. It's not that we don't have the money to start businesses. We have the wrong perspective. See, everybody thinks of a business as a Walmart right now. When you think about starting a business, you're thinking about a Walmart. You think about starting a business, you're thinking about Facebook. You're thinking about an Amazon. You're thinking about a Best Buy. You're thinking about a McDonald's. Guys, what I'm saying is, and what I really want you to get about entrepreneurship, you can start a business and make the same $70,000, $80,000 per year profit in your business that you do working for somebody else to make $70,000, $80,000 per year. Difference is that $70,000, $80,000 per year that you're making in your business is willable to your children. You can pass a business down to your children. Can't pass that job down to your children. Can't pass that job down to your children, right? And since I titled this, for black men, I want to talk to my brothers for a second. Because when you go to college and you get that degree and you start taking on the responsibilities that a man has to take on, You start taking on the responsibilities that a man has to take on. The responsibility of paying your college loan back. Responsibility of being provider and protector of your family. And because of that, then you turn around and you have to go get a job that is beneath you. You have to go get a job that is beneath you. You get a job that is outside of your field. So now you are underemployed, but you have these responsibilities as a man. You have these responsibilities as a man that you have to take care of, or else you're not considered a man, right? When you are forced to take a job that you don't like, or where you're underemployed, you're not working in your field as a man, let's talk about what that does to our brothers psychologically. Who our brothers have to become on somebody else's job to make just enough money to take care of their bills. I want y'all to get this. I want y'all to get this. What a black man has to become on somebody else's job when he's in a position that he has to take that job to take care of his duties, which are ordained by God as a provider and a protector. Psychologically, what a black man has to deal with. What that black man has to become is heartbreaking. Versus what that black man is able to become if he is making his own way through entrepreneurship and his own business. He's free to make his own choices. Think about this psychologically as a black man, as a king, having to submit to someone else your entire life. You guys want to know why our brothers don't protect our sisters? Because they're being forced to submit every waking moment of their life. See, we in psychological warfare, and we hate to admit it. We're in psychological warfare and we don't want to admit that. Boy, get to work on time or you're going to lose your job. Now, a brother don't give a two rats butt about a job, but if I lose my job is tied to my dignity and my manhood. So losing a job for me means I can't put food on the table. I might lose my house. That means psychologically. So I'm willing to put up with a bunch of crap every day because my job is tied to my manhood. But guess what? Your ability to provide for your family, the provisions for your family should be tied to only your ability to produce for yourself. See, real men, and not the manufactured version of a man. See, brothers today, this is the manufactured version of the black man. A real black man knows how to go kill his food. Right? It's crazy. Man, we are in psychological warfare. We've got to get this. Right? But as a full-time entrepreneur, if I don't go kill something today, my family won't eat. And what keeps a brother sharp and on his toes is the hunt. See, the reason some of our brothers are in the predicament and in the condition that they are, because they ain't hunted in 25 years. Some of them have never hunted at all. In order for this family to eat, I got to go kill something every day. You guys know how liberating that is for a black man? It's liberating. When I left my job, I left a $60,000 a year job to make $30,000 a year in my own business. the scariest and most liberating thing I've ever done in my life. But I want you guys to get something. Liberation is frightening. To be free is scary. Because what that means is I am 100% responsible. See, when you go to somebody else's job, are you responsible for the building that you're going to work in? Are you responsible for the company being profitable? Are you responsible for the customers that come in or going to get customers for your business? Are you responsible for the computers and the laptops and the cell phones that they give you? You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You go to a job, all of that stuff is there, and they just teach you how to use it. Teach you what you're supposed to do with it. As an entrepreneur, though, I'm responsible for everything. Not only am I responsible for the kill, I'm responsible for the weaponry and the tools that I need to go kill every day. Right? And let me say this while we're talking, man, while we're talking about the psychology, right? The mental onslaught that my sisters have to undergo when they go to a job. See, this thing is so deep, man. The reason my sisters are given the job is not only to displace the brothers from the job, but what they're doing is they're flipping the roles of authority in black households, because when the sister makes the money, the sister starts wearing the pants, and when the sister wears the pants, she turns around and further belittles and keeps the brother in servitude. See, the brother already got to go to the job and be subservient to the job. And then the sister makes 20, 30, 40, 50 grand more than the brother. So she wears the pants in the household. So psychologically, they're destroying the family by the way they have this whole game set up. Sisters, the reason you're on the job, the reason you are the most degreed people on the planet, yes, sisters have more degrees than even white women. The reason you're more degreed, the reason you're more acceptable on the job is because you are less threatening. You're not the threat. Well, actually you are, but that's a different conversation. But you're less threatening and on the job, right? You're not. You don't threaten the power structure, right? You're not gonna buck up at your bosses like a brother is gonna buck up after so long. You're not gonna challenge authority so much in a lot of cases, right? So they will give the jobs to the sisters or to the effeminated black man. You'll see brothers who or homosexuals, and this is no disrespect to any brother who is a homosexual, but that brother is less threatening in the atmosphere, right? See, when a real black man enters a room, he's not only seen, but his presence is felt. His energy is amazing, right? And that is damn frightening to any other culture on the planet. When a real black man enters a room and he is standing on his square, fully confident in who he is and his capabilities, that is threatening to somebody else who's got the job because of their parents, or someone else who got the job because of their best friend works in HR. See, that's so they will give our sisters the jobs, and they're working on in the force. So, but the psychological onslaught mentally towards our sisters isn't any less detrimental than it is to our brothers having to be subservient, because our sisters are saying to themselves, damn, my husband could be doing that job. This buffoon is over here messing up everything. That cost the company 50 grand this month alone, and my husband has a degree in this. My husband could be doing this job. Sisters have to put up with those little sly remarks by others in the workforce that are less intelligent, that are less studied, that are less accomplished, but they have to work under these people. Yeah, it goes both ways. I'm not discounting anything that our sisters have to go through. Our sisters have to go through the harassment sexually, mentally, emotionally, constantly being beat down. Yeah, it's a mess. And yet we've known it's been a mess for 100 years, and still entrepreneurship is not even on the table. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We know it's a mess. It's been a mess for a long time, and still entrepreneurship isn't even on the table. We're not telling our children to learn entrepreneurship. Now, I'm part of Young Biz Kids. We teach entrepreneurship to children. We had this weekend, we was at a kids expo, and 6 of our Young Biz Kids were at the kids expo making their own money in their own businesses from products that they created themselves. It's time to stop playing, y'all. I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm saying you better have a plan before you do. I'm not saying don't go to college or don't send your kids to college. I'm saying you better make sure that they're prepared for it before you do. How about 50, 60 grand right now? Because I sent 2 kids to college who weren't prepared for college. Now, my thoughts of college is a little bit different than everybody else's thoughts of college. And one of the articles that I read this morning said that poor people that go to college to get the degree is worse off than wealthy people when they go to college. And here's what's startling about why that is. Because poor people, when they go to college, they're going to spend all their time studying to make sure they get the grades so they can get the degree. Therefore, they miss out on the most important aspect of college, is the networking and making of connections with people from all over the world. I don't care what university you go to, HBCUs, non-HBCUs, local state colleges, there are people at the universities from all over the world. But we have never taught our children how to network, so they don't even know how to do that when they go to college. So I sent my kids to college to network, because I know that the degree don't mean that they are going to do anything significant because they have a degree. However, you got to remember that it was Bill Gates who met his buddy who funded Microsoft in college. Networking. Facebook came out of some relationships in college. Twitter, Instagram, all of these things. It wasn't the college degree that gave birth to these things. Right? So we have to at least put entrepreneurship on the table. So the guy who graduated college, 50, he might have started out making 30 grand a year. He finished his career making 80 grand a year. The guy who starts his business, he might have had to start 3 or 4 of them to finally get one that's working. He started out making 20 grand a year. But he owned his business and he could live a decent lifestyle because of the way he could use the tax code. So that 20 grand a year, he probably had 50 grand in revenue, but the actual taxable income was about 20 grand a year. So even on paper, he looks like he's worth less than the guy who makes 30, 40 grand a year coming out of college, right? But 30 years down the road, the guy who's continued to run his business, stayed the course, does everything business owners should do to keep their business afloat and keep them growing, keep them thriving, has gone from that $20,000 taxable income to maybe 80,000. So now they both on paper, it looks like they make the same amount of money. But here's the difference. The guy who graduated from college has a job. He makes 80 grand a year. Now, he may have, if he was smart, taken some of that money and put it into a 401k. Max that out. Then taking some of that money and put it into a separate IRA or whatever. So I'm not saying that he can't use a job to take the resources to start to leverage, right? But the guy who runs the business, right? He now not only has 80,000 in taxable income and revenue. That probably means he's running 200 or 300 grand in revenue through his business, but his profit is 80 grand for himself, right? Profit is 80 grand for himself. But not only does he have a business that he owns that has 80 grand in revenue itself, but he also owns the land that his business sits on. He also owns the building that his business sits in. He also owns all the equipment that it takes to run and operate his business. So while it looks like on paper he's only making 80 grand a year, he's probably got a $2 or $3 million net worth. Equity, ownership, being a producer versus an employee. I want you to think about how this guy feels at the end of a 25, 30-year career. Right? And he has a better credit rating. How this guy feels at the end of a 20, 30-year career. And he has $2, $3, $4 million worth of net worth that he's able to pass down to his children. I want you to think about how this guy feels as a man, taking his own intellect, his own desires, his own passion, and making a living from that, never having to answer to anyone but his customers. And then on the other side, this other man, and I'm going to say he's a black man, and he's at the end of his career. And if he did the right things with his money, he's got some money. But then he's telling his kid, he's got to try to look at his kid and tell his kid with a straight face, go to school, get a good job, get good grades so you can get a good job, and work really hard. But in the back of his mind, he's thinking about all the crap he's had to put up with on the job for 30 years. All the promotions that he got passed over for. Right? The racism, the politics. He's thinking about all of that, but at the same time, he's got to try to tell his kids with a straight face when his kid is at 35, 40 years old saying, Dad, I think I want to jump out of this job thing and just go ahead and start me a business and do my own thing. Because everybody at some point in their life thinks about it. But for the most part, when they're having those thoughts, they sit down with somebody they love, somebody they respect, and say, I'm thinking about doing this business thing, walking away from this corporate world. And his dad has to look at him with a straight face, the best he can, and say, I wouldn't advise you to do that, son. Stick it out. Yeah, there's going to be some tough points that you're going to have to deal with. Yeah, there's going to be some politics on the job. Yeah, you're going to have to bite your tongue a lot. But stick it out, son. The safety and security of a job, you want that steady paycheck. That's what's happening in our community. Anybody know of a black-owned business that is 100 years old today? How many black-owned businesses do we know of that are 100 years old today? Because when you take entrepreneurship off the table, then you don't start the family business. so that the family business can continue to grow and thrive. You pass the family business on to a next generation. So a couple of flaws you are not explaining. The survive rate of a small business, let alone a black-owned business, and the trust is just 2 years, and you're making it sound like you can't be a black educated man and also own a business. And last, if you're only making 80K at the end of your career, then you really need to get a new career in the first place. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm not saying what I'm saying isn't foolproof and without its holes. What I'm saying is, for most of us, entrepreneurship is not even on the table. And let's be clear. How many black people are making it to retirement and they're able to retire comfortably based on go to school, get a good job, get a good education, work your career, stay in that career, and do what you have to do? Right? So we got to be clear about that as well, right? What's at the end of the road of the careers of most working class people, especially black people? Let's be clear about that too. What's at the end of the road for most working class black people, whether you have a degree or not? Whether you have a degree or not, what's at the end of the road for most black people, whether they have a degree or not? What I'm saying is we have to look at the pros and cons of both, and we can't follow blindly the social trends and say, hey, everybody, college is the best thing for everybody. Now, you're absolutely right. A college degree, I know tons of people who's got college degrees and now they have businesses that they're running on the side. And now the businesses are starting to take precedence over the job. But let's be clear. There is no easy answer, and no, entrepreneurship isn't guaranteed. But one thing I can guarantee, if you can make entrepreneurship work, that's something you can pass down to your children. I don't give a care how good you are on your job. You can't pass that down to your children. What I'm saying, it's worth the effort to give it a try. It's how they pass on financial health to their children, right? Yeah, entrepreneurship is how immigrant families build wealth and financial independence. It is absolutely. And for us, what I'm saying is college is held in high esteem and entrepreneurship is not even on the table. That's what I want you to get out of this. That's what I want to get out of this. So he said at the end of a career, but I definitely agree with everything he's saying. Well, let's understand something. You said if people make it to the end of their career and they're only making 80 grand, they need a new career. With the way we are passed over for promotions, with the way companies aren't giving raises, it is very doable that people every day are getting to the end of their career with college degrees, with master's degrees. I know people right now with master's degrees only making 40 grand a year at 40 years old. That it's hard pressed to believe that they're going to be making more than 80 grand in the next 20 years. Right? Field of study, where you got your degree in, all that kind of stuff, it makes a difference, man. But what I'm saying is entrepreneurship at least has to be on the table. It has to at least be on the table. And it's not in our community. That's one reason that we are in the situation that we're in. We are begging the white man, we're begging mainstream America to hire our children when they graduate from college. And when they don't, we're pissed off. And we want to talk about a racist system. Well, hell, we knew the system was racist when we sent our kids to college to begin with. That's the deal. So I didn't realize, guys, it is beyond 8 o'clock. So it is. So obviously you can tell that I'm a heavy proponent for entrepreneurship, but that doesn't mean don't understand, the benefits of college. What I'm really want you to get is think about the pros and the cons and whether or not the risk outweigh the reward. See, we don't even see college as a risk at all. And that's the problem that I have. We see entrepreneurship as all risk, but we don't see college as a risk at all. I want you to weigh the risk of going to college the same way you weigh the risk of entrepreneurship. But the reason we don't see college as risk at all is because college is what's called socially acceptable, and we as people intrinsically, as being a social people, hate to feel like we are going against the majority. So if everybody puts college on a high esteem, then if I say anything against college, then I'm going to be looked at as an outsider or an outcast, and that's a problem for me psychologically. We never want to be felt as an outsider. But there is a risk to going to college, just like there is a risk for entrepreneurship. And I want everybody to weigh the risk of both and at least put entrepreneurship on the table, especially if we are going to curb the unemployment rate, which is 50% for black men and black boys in this country. Yeah, entrepreneurs, college is a social structure, right? So I left a 140K position as a school administrator to launch my own business because the overwhelming majority of millionaires I've met are independent business owners. Yeah, many blue collar, right? There is a risk in college, and that's all I want you guys to realize. That's all I'm talking about is there's a risk for both, but don't just talk about the risk for entrepreneurship and make college seem like it's risk-free, because it's not. You're taking a gamble when you go to college that you're going to go and get into all of this debt, just like you're taking a gamble if you're going to get into debt to start a business. You're taking a gamble where you're taking a gamble to get into debt to get a college degree and then find out whether or not a job is going to be waiting for you on the other end. You got to find out whether or not you got what it takes to maintain a business and to if you go into debt to make sure you're profitable in your business, to pay the debt off and all that. The risks are pretty equal on both sides. But one is more socially acceptable than the other. And I would say for black people in this country, one of the reasons that we don't start businesses is because we like to shine too doggone much. We like to shine too much, so we won't start a business where my business makes just enough money for me to put food on the table right now, and I don't have anything left over to shine. So we don't want to start a business, but the principles and things that you will be teaching your children in business and positioning yourself, man, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, right? When your children can see that you can go out here and produce an income for yourself, right? And last but not least, I want you to think about this. If a company is paying you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year, they would not be good business people if they were making that kind of investment in you and not at least making 3 times that off you. If a company is paying you $50,000 a year, they would not be good business people if they were not at least making 3 times that off you. So if they're making 3 times that off you, then that means you could at least make the same $50,000 for yourself. So that's it, man. I appreciate the dialogue, man. This was good. I love. I don't have a problem with difference of opinions. A lot of times we don't talk about the things we need to talk about because when someone has a difference of opinion, they shut it down. You shut it down. No, we need good dialogue so we can come to some good happy mediums, and so we can come to some good solutions and how we can blend the both of the two and make this thing work for everybody so that our community can pull ourselves up out of this mess that we're in. No, the mess we're in is not 100% our issue or our fault, but we've got to start doing something different. If we don't, we will never have anything different. So if you want information on the Black Wealth Movement, text Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887. We will put you in your own business in the financial education space where you'll learn entrepreneurship, tax minimization, debt elimination, credit education, asset accumulation, and asset protection. Right? Those are the 6 building blocks for wealth, economic empowerment on the individual basis. Then when we get enough people in that community who are economically empowered individually, then we can start practicing real group economics, right? But we don't even practice group economics at home. But we got to start somewhere. So that's the name of the game. The Black Wealth Movement wants to help you do that. Text the phrase Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887. It's $35 to start, $35 per month. If you don't like where we're going in the first 30 days, you can cancel and I'll give you your $35 back. I'm looking for some real soldiers who understand that economic empowerment is the new revolution. Till I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve it. Peace out, y'all.